All right, for those of you who are still following along with our table of contents, today we are going to add on to our polynomial notes, but we will start another section that's not technically in your book, but it's distributing negatives and variables, which is something that we're actually going to see as we move into multiplying. So go ahead and write that down, then we'll take some notes. All right, guys, so we're going to take a look at distributing, which is something that we will start to see more as we start to multiply our polynomials together. And you guys know distributing. For example, distributing looks like this. It's when we have, let's say, 5 times 2x minus 6. And we know that what's happening is that 5 is being multiplied by the 2. So 5 times 2 is 10, and we keep the x. And then we also take that 5 and we multiply it by the negative 6. And again, taking that sign with it right here. So that would give us negative 30. All right, so the idea is the same. What I want you guys to watch out for, though, are again signs. So that is the big problem, or the big issue, I should say, that I do see on some of your homework still. So just be very cautious about that. So let's go ahead and we'll add a sign to the same kind of problem. Let's say we have negative 5 times 2x minus 6. So again, idea is the same, except you want to make sure to take the sign with that 5. So 5 times 2x, in this case would be negative 5 times 2, so negative 10, and keep the x. And then negative 5, and again, take that sign, times negative 6. So we know that negative times negative is going to be positive. 6 times 5 is going to be 30. And so you'll see that these answers are similar, but notice that the signs are different now. And it's because of that negative in front that's being distributed. And so while I say this a lot to you guys, you have to be very cautious though, because that sign is going to change your answer, and it does change the value of what we have. So watch for that. All right, now why I point this out to you guys though is because you'll start to see things that look like this. Let's say we have 2x minus 3, and then parentheses 4x. Let's do plus 7. All right, so what this becomes multi-step. So it is kind of like order of operations. However, what I want to point out to you guys that you should be doing first is with that parentheses, that PEMDAS, the P, you do want to distribute first. So we want to take care of this parentheses in the sense that we are going to be multiplying by this 3 here. Now, just like I showed you in this example above, notice the sign though. Yes, this is minus 3, but I want you to take that sign. That sign becomes part of the 3. So what's really getting distributed here is not just 3, but it's going to be negative 3. And so I'll show you what that looks like. So again, take that whole sign, and it's going to go to the 4x first. So negative 3 times 4 is going to be negative 12. And then you're going to keep your x. Then you're going to do the same thing, negative 3 times, and again, you can take the sign here. Notice that this is a positive 7, so negative 3 times positive 7 would give you a negative 21. And then what's going to happen with this original 2x is that you're just going to bring it down to the problem, so 2x. So 2x minus 12x minus 21. And just like we saw last time, you now need to simplify this though. So actually, let me change these numbers here. So first step we saw up here was to distribute, if possible. And then second step here is to simplify that expression, meaning to combine your like terms. And so when I do that here, I combine this 2x, and again, take that sign, and this negative 12x, which should give me negative 10x, and then minus 21. And so that would be my simplified answer there. So again, things that you guys know, but you have to be very cautious about. And we want to watch those signs before we get into multiplying our polynomials. So this is good practice for that. All right, let me go ahead and show you another one, and then I'll have you guys practice a few just to make sure that makes sense. All right, so let's say this is our problem. 15 minus 4 times 10x minus 10. Now, the biggest mistake that is going to happen here, do not fall for it, is that people are going to automatically subtract here. And I'm going to tell you, do not do that, so no. Think about, again, order of operations, our parentheses first. Exponents, multiplication and dividing, and then adding and subtracting. if you were doing order of operations here, it would not make sense to do subtracting first, because again, subtracting is way down here at the bottom. So do not fall for that trap. Remember what I just told you from this last example was to do parentheses first, distribute first. So same idea here. With parentheses, I want you to distribute. So notice here that you are going to, again, distribute the sign with that. Take the minus sign. Take it with the 4. So negative 4 times 10x is going to be negative 40x. And then negative 4, and again, take the sign with it. Negative 4 times negative 10 should become positive 40. All right, just like last time, you're going to take that 15 that has not moved, and you're just going to shift it downwards, and this is going to become 15. So 15 minus 40x plus 40. And then, just like before, combine your like terms. 15 and 40 can be combined, and they're both positive, so you're going to add them. So that's going to give you 55. And then your last term is that negative 40x, so minus 40x. All right, and so that would be your simplified answer. Now, what I want you to actually watch out for, though, is, again, think about that descending order. Some of you guys are doing it on your homework, but not all of you. So really challenge yourself, really push yourself to think about that as you're rewriting an answer. In this case, the x should come first. And again, take the sign. It is a negative 40x. Your 55, your number goes second. So 55 is second. There's no sign on it, but you can see that it is positive. So we're going to add in that plus sign to, again, keep it as that expression. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I'm going to put up 2 examples, and then again, if you'd like that extra practice, go ahead and try them also, and then we'll go over those answers really quickly. All right, guys, here are 2 examples for you guys to try. They're both distributing and simplifying. I will point out, though, notice here that your distributing is actually in the front of this problem. On this one, it's in the back. Does not matter. You're still going to distribute first. So go ahead and give that a shot. All right, guys, so your first one, you would have gotten 2x plus 12. So hopefully you guys got that. All right, your second one, though, I actually paused halfway through the problem. So what I want to point out is that I actually distributed that 8 first, like we talked about. So again, before you add, you distribute first. Now, notice here again that this 14 is going to come down to the final answer. So I'm going to bring down this 14. Okay. However, we just talked a little bit about making sure that this is an expression. Notice that there is no sign in between these 2 numbers, between that 24x and that 14. Because that 24 is positive, though, indicate that with a plus sign, though. So remember, all these terms are separate, that you are going to be combining together. All right, last step, simplifying here. I'm going to go ahead and combine my numbers. Again, take the sign there, 14 minus 16, or 14 plus negative 16 should give you a negative 2. And then there's that positive 24x. Descending order, I would rewrite this as 24x minus 2, though. All right, so let me know if you guys have questions with that. All right, guys, the final thing that we'll take a look at today, though, is distributing a variable. Before we look at an example, though, I actually want to bring your attention to this. Do you guys remember what happens if we have x times x? Hopefully, you're saying that that would be x squared. And you would be right. Do you guys remember if I had x times x times x, what that would become? If you said x to the 3rd, you were also right. What about if I had something like this, though? X to the 2nd times x to the 2nd. Does anyone remember that? The answer to this would be x to the 4th. And the reason for that is because x to the 2nd we said is x times x. X to the 2nd we know is x times x. And if you look at this, we have a total of 4 x's. So we would say x to the 4th. Your shortcut here, though, was to actually add your exponents together, which would give me 4. So for example, if I said, all right, guys, quickly tell me what x to the 5th times x to the 2nd is. Knowing again our shortcut here, we would be adding our exponents. So add exponents. So we would do 5 plus 2. We should quickly be able to see that that would be x to the 7th. And so again, that's what I want you guys to be cautious of, is adding those exponents. And the reason for that is this. As we start to multiply, as we start to distribute, we will start to see problems that look maybe like this. 3x times 2x plus 6. All right, so same idea. You're distributing, but this time you have a variable. You have an x there too. So when it goes to the first term, what you're going to do is it is always number times number. So in this case, 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. And then it is letter or variable times letter. To do them separately. So x times x would be x squared, because there's 2 x's. There's this one here and one here. All right, so same idea. You're going to go ahead and take then that same 3x here, distribute it to the second term. So number times number, 3 times 6 is 18. There are no other x's, so we're going to keep that x. And then again, just remember right here though, is you want to put in that sign to indicate that it's an expression still. So because this is positive, you're going to put that plus sign right there. All right, let's look at one more. Let's say we have negative 5x squared times negative 4x squared plus 6x. All right, so same idea here. Watch, you have a negative that you're distributing. We're going to take this entire first term and we're going to distribute it to that one inside the parentheses. So number times number. Negative 5 times negative 4 is 20. Now letter times letter. X squared times x squared. All right, so just be careful here. Notice you are distributing a negative. So it's going to go to that first term. So number times number. It would be negative 5 times negative 4, which is going to give you positive 20. And then it's also going to be letter times letter. X squared times x squared. Remember, the key was to add those exponents. So there's actually going to be 4 of them there. So then x to the 4th. All right, same thing with the second term. Take that negative 5x squared and distribute it to the second term. So again, number times number. Negative 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. Here though, you have x squared times x. So x squared times x. Should notice that there's 2 and then 1, so 3. So x to the 3rd would be your expression. All right, I'm gonna give you guys one more maybe challenge problem if you wanna try. All right, here's your problem. So I'm gonna remind you of that order of operations. Do not subtract here. You are gonna think that you should subtract and you should not. Remember, order of operations how you use to work with the parenthesis first. So distribute first. So distribute. All right, go ahead and try that. All right, did you get it? Final answer here should have been negative 12x squared plus 8x. So there's a couple of things you should watch out for. First is the distributing of the negative here. So negative times positive is going to give you negative. And again, watch that exponent though. Notice is if you drop that exponent, when you combine your terms, it is going to mess up your answer. So be cautious. X times x is x squared. All right, when you distribute that second one, you should have got negative 4x here. And then you're going to combine. Notice what I did with final answer though was descending order. So practice that, guys. And then again, watch for that exponent though. That is going to change your answer. So practice the homework and then we'll take a look at it later.